This morning, 9 News is raising money for a very special cause for our local heroes.
Yeah, we want to help the Rocky Mountain Honor Flight on their mission. They take veterans to see the memorials dedicated to them in Washington, D.C.
An awesome mission. 9 News reporter John Glasgow joins us live from our telethon happening right now. And John, you can hear the phones just ringing off the hook.
Yeah, in the last 15 minutes, things have really started to pick up here. You can hear the phones ringing. The volunteers are here. And in fact, a lot of these volunteers are veterans themselves. Some of them have been on this trip to Washington, D.C. This is a tremendous cause. The Rocky Mountain Honor Flight sends the veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the monuments and memorials. Some of them haven't seen them. Some of them can't afford to go. It's a trip of a lifetime, and they don't receive any government funding, so they rely solely on the donations from viewers at home. So I want to introduce you to someone who took the trip in June. He's a 98-year-old veteran of World War II. He even flew fighter planes.
This is history.
Where we store photos has evolved with time.
But that would have been a museum.
But Walter Barbo doesn't need a phone, tablet, or image to remember the life that he's lived, even at his age.
Well, I hate to admit it, but I'm past 98.
Walt's memory is picture perfect.
I grew up on a little farm, and I recall the farm tractor we had didn't even have rubber tires on the wheels.
After nearly a century of time gone by, Walt still remembers moments that changed his life.
I grew up in the town of Mount Vernon. I went from Mount Vernon to Seattle and joined the Army Air Corps as an aviation cadet 2 days after Pearl Harbor.
That's a young baby-faced Walt Barbo, who signed up to serve for his country in the Second World War at only 18 years old.
I spent about a year and a half in combat in the South Pacific.
Flying alongside some of the greatest ace pilots to ever live in a P-38 Lightning twin-engine fighter plane. He was there at Ground Zero when the war finally ended.
This was the initial surrender group. It was 2 aircraft. I'm one of the thousands that appear in this picture.
4 engineering degrees later, Walt is still in the sky.
I wanted to stay in flying. I'd just done anything to stay in flying forever.
A pilot of his own plane, he still flies once a week.
It still fulfills one's desire to keep flying, but it keeps you on top of technology as well.
So when Walt had the chance to be on a plane headed for Washington, he couldn't pass it up.
On a lark, I just sent my name in.
He was chosen to be on the Rocky Mountain Honor Flight last month, a trip to see the memorials, paying homage to his service that he'd never seen before.
It was elegant, it was large and immense. Just how much time they put into that.
Statues and structures built to stand the test of time, the Honor Flight brings living history to see the monuments that will honor them for centuries to come.
It might be kind of a lasting memory, many of them before they're no longer with us.
Walt Barbo, what a man. Incredibly sharp. He's been on this trip. He said it was fantastic, amazing. He couldn't believe the amount of thought that went into these monuments when he got to Washington, D.C. So the biggest expense here is the flights. The pandemic has increased the price of those, so that's one of the biggest expenses this year. They also say that they haven't been able to do this in the last 2 years because of the pandemic. 8 trips have been canceled, so this is a big fundraiser that they're trying to put on here today to get some money so they can send more of these vets, 25 of them, plus some guardians as well. 25 guardians, rather, 30 veterans are going to go. So it's an awesome time for them. Let's keep those money rolling in here. There's a number on the screen there that you can call in. They'll answer the phones, take your donations. You can also go to our website, 9news.com, and also donate there as well. But Walt Barbo, I could not believe that he still flies a plane at 98 once a week. Incredible.
He's amazing. I mean, he looks terrific for sure.
Yeah, he does not look 98 at all.
Oh my goodness.
Doesn't sound a day over 60 years old.
Yeah. And John, you know, I've done some stories on Honor Flight too, and those veterans that go, they are so humble. They wouldn't admit that, oh, thank you for sending us, you know, but I mean, they're appreciative, but they wouldn't admit that they are heroes, and they absolutely are. And when you go to the memorials, that's what really comes out.
Absolutely. And you know what else too, in talking with some of the organizers here, they say that they would like to group them into the types of combat that they were in so that they could, you know, have some camaraderie too. A lot of them haven't met each other, so when they go on this trip, not only are they getting to see these monuments, but they're also going with people that have served in a similar way. So they build that bond, they build that friendship, and as sadly, a lot of them, this is some of their final trip to Washington. So, there's that side of it as well. But for a lot of them, it's just a moment of joy and to see and pay homage to what they've done for this country.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we'll raise a lot of money for them today. Thanks a lot. And a reminder, Rocky Mountain Honor Flights is planning trips to Washington, D.C. after, as John said, a couple of years off because of COVID. We need your help. They take veterans to see the monuments dedicated to their service, no cost to the vets. You have two options to help. One, you can scan the QR code on the screen right now. That'll take you to the donation page. Or if you like to speak to someone instead, just call the number on your screen, 303-577-2080, and you'll be connected to somebody up there in the phone bank. We will keep the phones on till 7 p.m. tonight.
6:09 now. Today, a teenager accused of setting a fire that killed a family of 5 in Green Valley Ranch will appear in court. 9 News reporter Darius Johnson live at Denver District Court this morning with the details of the case. Darius.
Hey there, Natasha. Later this morning, one of the 3 teenagers charged in the Green Valley Ranch arson that killed 5 people will appear in court. This happened back on August of 2020. According to court documents, at 2:30 in the morning, Kevin Bowie, Gavin Seymour, and a juvenile poured accelerant and set fire to a house on Truckee Street in Green Valley Ranch. Inside the home were members of the Joel family. 5 people were left dead. Bowie is being tried as an adult and faces 60 charges, including first-degree murder as well as arson. That hearing starts at Denver District Court at 8:30 this morning. Of course, we will be there and we'll bring you the latest. Natasha, back to you.
All right, Darius, thank you.
8 people arrested after what law enforcement leaders are calling one of the largest fentanyl seizures in Colorado history. Investigators seized about 200,000 fentanyl pills and lots of other drugs meant for distribution in the Denver metro area. The Arapahoe County DA says this all started 6 months ago with a tip in Wyoming. Investigators tracked down the source of the drugs in Mexico. They arrested the 8 people for their roles as smugglers and distributors. The DEA says investigators seized more than 1.1 million fentanyl pills in Colorado just in the first 3 months of this year.
This morning, disturbing new details about the suspect accused in the deadly attack on the 4th of July parade near Chicago. Investigators say after he left the parade, he drove to Wisconsin and considered another shooting in Madison. Police say he confessed to them that he was on the way there when he turned around and drove back into Illinois. The suspect said he decided he was not prepared to pull off that second shooting. Prosecutors also released new details about what they found on the rooftop the gunman fired from in Highland Park, Illinois. Investigators found the shells of 83 bullets and 3 ammunition magazines on that rooftop. The suspect faced a judge for the first time since his arrest just yesterday. 2 of the victims who died in the parade shooting were the young parents of a 2-year-old boy. Young Aiden McCarthy was found wandering along the parade route. Police later determined his parents, Irina and Kevin, were among those who died. Aiden is now being cared for by relatives. A GoFundMe has been set up for him, and that account has received more than $2.5 million from 47,000 people.